Do you know that moment, that black screen reflecting your face for just a split second, right before you hear that iconic ta-dum? It really feels like the curtain is rising on this entire world of entertainment. But what if I told you that every single thing you see in that world, every show, every movie, every thumbnail, was put there just for you? By an invisible director that honestly probably knows your tastes better than you do. Well, that director is Netflix's algorithm. And today, we're going to pull back that curtain and meet it. We all do it, right? It's been a long day, you finally sink into the couch, you grab the remote, and you open the app. You're just looking for something to watch, a story to get lost in for a little while. But the first choice you're really making isn't what show to click on. It's to trust the screen in front of you. And this is the fundamental thing that I think we all get wrong. Netflix isn't some passive one-size-fits-all video store with these infinite shelves. No, it's an active, dynamic mirror, and it's reflecting your habits, your moods, and yeah, even your secret guilty pleasures right back at you. So we call this system the invisible director. And its main job, its whole purpose, is to solve a very, very modern problem: the paradox of choice. I mean, when you can literally watch anything, how in the world do you choose something? Just think about it for a second. The sheer amount of content on there would take you lifetimes to get through. And when we're faced with that infinite shelf, our brains kind of just lock up. We get overwhelmed, and we end up scrolling and scrolling, paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong 2-hour commitment. This is exactly where the AI steps in, not as a librarian, but as a director to guide your attention. But here's the thing. This isn't just about helping you find a good movie for your Friday night. This is a high-stakes, ruthless business. So let's look at the cold, hard logic that turns your attention into billions with a B of dollars. Okay, so this whole system operates under some pretty intense pressure. Netflix's own data shows they have about 90 seconds. That's it. 90 seconds to grab your attention. If you don't find something that looks compelling in that minute and a half, the odds are you're just going to give up, you'll open another app, and for the algorithm, that entire session is a complete failure. And the cost of that failure? It's enormous. The company estimates that its personalization engine saves it over $1 billion a year. Now think about that. That's not profit from making new movies. That's money they save just by stopping you from getting frustrated and canceling your subscription. In the industry, they call this reducing churn. And this recommendation AI is their #1 weapon in that fight. And you want to know how effective it is? It's staggering. A full 80% of all the hours watched on the entire platform are driven by these recommendations. So we might think we're in control, that we're the ones choosing, but the data proves the invisible director is guiding the vast majority of what we all watch. This predictive power goes way beyond just recommending existing shows. It's now used to create them. The legendary story here is House of Cards. Netflix committed $100 million without even seeing a pilot episode. So why would they do that? Well, because they already had the data. They knew they had this huge audience cluster that loved David Fincher's directing. They had another big cluster that watched everything with Kevin Spacey. And they had a third group that had watched and loved the original British version of the show. The algorithm saw this massive overlap between the three and basically knew it had a guaranteed hit before a single scene was even shot. And this strategy has only gotten more powerful. Let's take a more recent example, Squid Game. This was a pretty cheap show to make, about $21 million, and local studios had actually rejected it for a decade. But the algorithm saw something that the humans didn't. It identified this growing global appetite for survival dramas, and it targeted these very specific user groups, they call them taste communities, who already loved that genre. From there, it just methodically expanded its recommendations, and it turned this little local show into a global phenomenon that generated almost $900 million in value. But you know, this data-driven logic, it's a real double-edged sword. It's the exact same reason for that infamous 3-season ceiling you hear about. The algorithm calculates that by the time a show hits season 3, it's just not bringing in enough new subscribers to justify its rising costs, and so it gets canceled. It's not malice, it's just cold hard math. Okay, so we've seen the business logic, we've seen the math, but why does the system feel so personal? Why does it feel like it just gets us? Well, the answer lies in some pretty fascinating psychology. This right here is one of the system's most profound insights into human nature. See, we all have two selves. There is the aspirational self. That's the one who adds serious documentaries and historical epics to my list. It wants to be cultured and informed. But then there's the actual self, who at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday just wants to watch a sitcom they've already seen 9 times before. Netflix learned very early on to kind of ignore what you say you like and focus entirely on what you actually do. And what that does is create this really powerful bond. The algorithm isn't judging you for your guilty pleasures. It's validating them. It's serving them up on a silver platter. It creates this private space of what you could call radical honesty, where your real tastes are accepted and catered to, and that reinforces this deep feeling that this service truly, truly understands you. But what's even more subtle and honestly a little wild is how it tailors the marketing directly to you. You aren't just getting a personalized list, you're getting personalized artwork. The little thumbnail for Good Will Hunting might show you Matt Damon and Minnie Driver if you like romance movies, but if you're a comedy fan, it'll show you Robin Williams. The movie is the exact same, but the packaging completely morphs to fit what it already knows you like. It's this incredible illusion of choice, guiding you towards something by making it look like what you already love. Of course, there's a pretty significant risk to all this personalization, and it's something called the filter bubble. The AI gets so good at predicting what you'll like that it eventually stops showing you anything you might not like. It basically shields you from challenge, from surprise, from the joy of just stumbling onto something unexpected. And this can lead to our tastes getting, well, stuck. We can get trapped in what some critics have called bottomless comfort zones, where our viewing habits are just endlessly reinforced, but they never really evolve. The algorithm removes the friction of choice, which is great, but it might also be removing the joy of genuine discovery. So where does all of this go from here? I mean, the system is already incredibly sophisticated, but the next evolution of this is going to be even more deeply personal. The AI is moving beyond just what you watch to build a contextual profile of you. It's learning that Monday morning you, who just needs some background noise while you work, is a totally different person from Friday night you, who wants a big blockbuster movie. It's learning to factor in your device, your location, and it's even trying to figure out who else might be in the room with you. And this is the really big next frontier, emotional AI. The system could learn to infer your mood just by analyzing tiny little behaviors. For instance, maybe you just binged a really dark, stressful true crime documentary. The AI might notice that and proactively recommend a lighthearted comedy, basically serving you comfort content to improve your mood. It's a huge shift from just knowing your tastes to actually predicting your feelings. This incredible predictive power raises some really profound ethical questions. And the debate is no longer just about data privacy. It's about agency. You know, when a machine knows us better than we know ourselves, who is really in control of our choices? At what point does a helpful service become a manipulative force? Which, brings us right back to where we started. The algorithm isn't some alien intelligence imposing its will on us. Its power comes from us. It is a mirror holding up this incredibly detailed reflection of our collective habits, our desires, our tendencies. And what it shows us is that we are, at our core, creatures of comfort, driven by these deep psychological currents. So the next time you settle in and you see that red N pulse on your screen, just think about the invisible director working away behind the scenes. And ask yourself this: when that perfect recommendation appears and you press play, is that a command that you are giving, or is it an answer that you are simply accepting?